Hello, hello. I think I am live. Let me just check to make sure. I'm gonna get started really soon, really quickly. Yes, I am live. Okay, perfect. My name is Denise Damijo, and I'm coming here to you today, and we are going to be talking about um, non-duality versus complacency. And the importance to recognize the difference in between the two and to see what role you are playing in between the two. And so, I first and foremost, let me just make sure that I've also shared this in my group. If you are not inside of my group, Spiritual Codes, um, spiritual codes for leaders to make an impact and win financially, then you are missing out. Please, if you feel called, going ahead and tap the screen for to join the group. So I had just got through doing accountability check-in with in SAS, Solar Line Society. That's my membership, my monthly membership group. And inside of that group, just really the raw transparency of what exactly I'm as a leader, as a person, as a human being is going through in this era, in this time. And I think that it's so very important for us all to be real with ourselves. If we're not real with anybody else, if you are not real with anybody else, you know, decide to be real with yourself. Decide to be your truest, honest, authentic, rawest self with yourself. Because if you do not decide to do that, then you are gaslighting yourself and allowing for the invasion for people to gaslight you too. So in that the accountability, I was speaking about the different the different energetic feelings that I was feeling within these last couple of weeks. I don't know, for some people out there, they may have been feeling a little bit more exhausted than what they normally are. Like maybe, and this could be an exhaustion of your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual self, right? It could be an exhaustion of any of those things. And mine was quite a bit of all. And particularly how I really saw it is throughout the course of these couple of few weeks, I've had to take several different naps in the course of these weeks. That's not normal for me. I am a person that can get up and, well, I don't do that anymore, but if I needed to, I am a person or wanted to. I'm a person that could get up, work 18-hour days, get 3 hours of sleep, and do it again with no problem, for several days in a row. And then, maybe take a, 5, 6 hour, 10, 5, 6 to 8 hour, sleep. And then once in that week, and then be doing the 18 hours again. So that being in a state of exhaustion was not normal for me. And now, mind you, today is a full moon, right? And of course, the energies of that may be in a state of, you may feel them differently, you may be experiencing them differently, your energy levels may be different. These are things that you can look out for um, to see where you are energetically. What I will say is this: is that you're going to have to check in with your energy levels um, throughout the year, the whole year. This is something that I believe that you um, should be doing. And it's not like you shouldn't have been doing it before or anything like that. It's just more urgent in this era that we find ourselves in. And so this is mainly for my US people, my United States of America people, right? Um, and this is very interesting for me to be even thinking and saying, because again, if anybody knows me, and I talk about this all the time, this is nothing new. If you check my videos, this is just who I am. I'm the person that loved being a hermit slash recluse. Well, back in 2020, I was basically booted out the house to not be that hermit slash recluse, which has been a very challenging thing for me because for 30 plus years of my life, that's who I was. That's what I was. And I was perfectly fine with that. Now, mind you, coming out, I know it was for a reason. And I think that as we all look back in our lives, as we all see the patterns in which that has led us up into today, it was because of the roles that we are playing in this era. It was because what we were supposed to be evolving into and embodying for this era. And so, as I'm looking back at it, and I'm grateful for not being the hermit slash recluse, but I was also transitioned into a different role. And I think that some people may get it. Some people may feel it, right? And the transition was going to being a natural leader that I wasn't trying to do. That was just who I am as a person, to actually taking ownership of what that looks like for me and the role that I play. Right. And so we all have our contributions in this experience, in this era. And so you have to ask yourself what your contribution is, right? You have to start asking these questions, despite of whether you want to ask them or not. I mean, you could not ask them, but if you're wanting to best benefit yourself, right, best benefit your family, best benefit your communities, then I invite you to ask these questions. What is your role in this era? Or what role have you been playing thus far in this era, right? Have you even shown up in this era? And what does that look like? What has that looked like? And what do you want it to look like, right? And so I wanted to talk, coming on here and talking about non-duality versus complacency. And I think that is a very, very, very important subject for so many different reasons. Now, everybody may not agree, and that's fine. That's why the beauty of it is that we are so different. That's a beautiful thing, right? Is being able to be so different. And so the reason why I want to talk about non-duality versus complacency is because at times non-duality may be used as an excuse to not act, an excuse for inaction. And that right there, especially if you're in a leadership role, that could be detrimental. That could be self-defeating. That could be harmful to the people in which you serve, the communities in which you serve. And it's something to just take into consideration, especially in this era, right? And so I truthfully believe that, yes, um, I do use the terminologies of, like, for instance, day versus night, land versus water, good versus bad, for the sake of understanding that the difference, understanding what kind of difference it may look like, right? At the same time, I believe that all are inclusive in a harmonious way of what is needed for this world to exist, for us to exist, right? Even our bodies are, kind of made in, you could see the difference. There's difference in the bodies and what the body function is, the internal versus the external, right? And so, but they all make up the body. Without both, it wouldn't be a body. The same thing with everything else. So I do believe in the non-duality of things. That being said, complacency. Let's talk about complacency. Surrender. When you're talking about non-duality, surrendering to what is so very important, because a lot of times, I'll give me as an example. I did not want to be outside. I wanted to be the hermit slash recluse. That was what I wanted to do. I did not want to surrender to what spirit was telling me to do in 2020, which was go out into the community, be in community, be a part of a community. I did not want to do that, but I surrendered to it because that was just what was for that era. I knew that that was what I was called to do. And instead of fighting it, because that wouldn't have done anything but prolonged me getting out there. It's like, um, is there really a free will kind of thing? Or is it like, well, you either going to do what you're supposed to do, or else you're going to have a more challenging life. So I decided to do what I was asked to do. I decided, and that was around the same time that I started doing the predictions that I do every year. And when I started to surrender, I remember going through this big old thing. It was a month long, and each week had a different theme. And one of the weeks was the week of surrender. So when I started to surrender, that's when I realized and saw how smoothly my life and my experience was, and how me wanting to be in control or wanting to have the control was not realistic. It wasn't like, it wasn't and yes, we can control certain things, right? We could control our perspectives, like how are we viewing something, and we can control quite a bit of things. But there are also some things that that requires you to surrender to. I talk about, with my own personal life, I have the experience of having a wonderful, amazing team, unseen team, that helps me to navigate through the physical material world. And a lot of times, what may be told to me or shown to me, I may not understand at that time. It may not make any kind of sense at that time. Matter of fact, a lot of times it doesn't. And I have to surrender to faith, to having faith that I'm not being led in a ditch somewhere. To having faith that I am being led in a place where I am going to be okay, where I'm going to thrive, where I'm going to be content with, at peace with, right? And that takes surrender. So in non-duality, yes, there is a lot of surrender that needs to happen. But what happens when you are settling into complacency? Well, how does that look? Like, what does that look like for you, or for anyone for that matter? What can that look like? When you're at, and this is something that I would love, like, if you know, if you have any desire to comment, I would love for you to let me know what does that look like for you, because it can look different for everyone, right? That being said, what does also being at peace look like for you? When you want to be at peace with something, with what's going on in the world, with what's going on in your life, you may not agree with it. I'm not saying that you agree with it. It may not feel good, it may not be comfortable, but you are at peace with what's happening. Again, I'll give you the example of me being a hermit slash recluse, and me having to surrender to going out into the community where I did not want to be. But I came to be at peace with it. I came to be at peace with it because it was so very important for me to evolve in those moments that I needed in evolution. For me to up level, for me to gain a new tool, a skill, for me to also release in an honorable way of who I used to be and embrace and embody who I was becoming. And I think that all of us have those moments where we have to do that, right? And so being at peace, which is, being at peace with your situation, being at peace with the experiences, the circumstances, and everything else. That's the non-duality of it all, because you're at peace. Well, this just is what is happening. But that doesn't mean that you avoid the change and prepare for the change appropriately. I had to prepare for that change of getting out into the community. When I used to be a hermit slash recluse, I had to prepare for the change because I was now entering a territory where I was dealing with different energies. And I am also an empath. And so anybody who knows about empaths, you could really absorb energy, right? And it could be very debilitating. So in order for me to be able to adjust, adapt, embrace all the things, I needed to not avoid the change and just go in blindly, but I needed to equip myself with the correct tools, the skills, the understanding, the know-how, the navigation, all the things in order for me to be successful. And that took a non-complacent role that I had to play. Awareness is active, it's not passive. So when you're talking about non-duality, you're also talking about having the capability of understanding the awareness and understanding the activity in that awareness, the activity that is required in that awareness, the conscious engagement that is needed in that awareness. And embracing the now of what is occurring in your circumstance. And everybody is, now this is the thing about this time and era, everybody is experiencing different things. Everybody has a different perspective of what they're experiencing. Everybody is experiencing different things. Everybody's playing different roles, right? And as I tell people quite often, we are all a piece of the bigger puzzle. And without one piece, the puzzle wouldn't be complete. And so the non-duality that I see within that scenario, that experience, is that what I may could be considered or considering being uncomfortable or bad or good, whatever the case may be, the other person may not be experiencing that. Does that mean that it's wrong? No. The wonderful thing that is playing out before our very eyes in the United States of America is awareness. Awareness, the filters have come off of many people's eyes. The distorted vision has come off of many people's eyes. The distortedness of it all has come to be revealed. For me, that's what I would consider on the good side, right? The uncomfortable parts that are happening and the things that are bringing quite a bit of concern is not the good part. I wouldn't consider that a good part. I would consider that not so good for me. That's my perspective. Somebody else may feel completely the opposite of what I'm feeling. They may feel like nothing is being revealed. They may feel like no filters are coming off. They may feel like all of those things. But as a person that has experienced energy and studied energy and utilizes energy, both of those things, those polarities, are very important. And when you're thinking about moving forward, when you're thinking about what's happening, it's also imperative that you understand your role in it. And if you don't yet understand it, that's okay. But are you exploring it? Are you investigating? Are you asking questions? Are you trying to connect the dots of your own life to figure out what that role in this error that you have found yourself in is? I'll give you a prime example about also being complacent, right? There are so many people that are in shock. Let's just be very upfront with this. Despite of what side of the equation you find yourselves on, what role you find yourself playing, there are a lot of people in shock, pure shock. I'm one of them. I am one of them, and I openly say that I am in shock, and I openly ask myself, am I in the wrong timeline? How am I here? That is okay. That is okay. It doesn't mean that you're less spiritual, or it doesn't mean that you don't have your ish together. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person, a good person. It means that you just are a person. And I think that it's so very important for us all to be people, in this era, right? At the same time, I know that I'm in shock. I'm acknowledging it. I'm embracing the feelings of it. I'm still navigating through it. That being said, I am not complacent in it. I am taking the required actions, the required steps in order for me to make sure that my role, whatever that role is, I know my role, whatever that role is being played, is being done, is I am a contributor doing the contribution of what I'm supposed to do. Non-duality does not mean complacency. Non-duality does not mean inaction. Non-duality does not mean settling and just allowing for whatever to happen. The thing about it is that everybody had to, in order for things to work, there are people that have to go into the position, whatever that position is, and do the work necessary that's required in that role. That is not a complacent act. And that does not mean that you don't believe in non-duality. It means that you are stepping into your role, you're actively embracing your role, you're actively playing your part in the era in which we have all found ourselves in. And so I wanted to just really come on here and talk about this from a practical point of view, where you could start asking yourself questions. What have you been doing? I will say that being stuck in fear, being stuck in anger, being stuck in resentment, being stuck in complacency, being stuck, period. Stuck is not the thing that you should want to be in, right? You should not want to feel stuck anywhere of where, whatever it is. Being able to see your evolution happening, see the transparent moments of your vulnerability, being, again, like I said before, your rawest, most authentic, most transparent, most honest self with yourself. If nobody else, with yourself is so very important. And not gaslighting yourself, not allowing also anybody else to gaslight you. There's a lot of gaslighting going on. And one of the things about me, and this is not something that, oh, I just picked up just a year or two ago. This is how I've been for since I was a kid. I am not going to uh, come on a side to appease somebody else's desire. I'm going to do what I feel like is right for me, that where I feel like I'm playing my role, my contributive role in my most authentic state of being. And so there's some people that are really in a space that have not been equipped with discernment. And I feel that they are more vulnerable than others because they're impressed on easily. The other thing that I want to say is this. As I said before, last year, in 2022, where is it? 2023, December 31st, 2023, and I have the video pinned up at the top of my my personal profile. The video, it was all about the ancestors have already done it for us, and now it's time for us to do it for the next generation. It also talked about collaborations being key, and the collaborations through the bloodlines looking a particular way. We saw that play out. I saw that play out. And if you were looking and paying attention, you saw that play out last year. And it is continuing through this year of what is occurring and what is happening, what is needed. This year, when I did my forecast for the year on December 31st of 2024, it was all about community. The collaboration is continuing, but community, community, community. Very, very, very important. Despite of what you may have thought or what people have been telling you, and truthfully, as a seer, I this is not a time to be complacent. This is not a time to overreact, nor is it a time to underreact. It's not. What I invite you to do is reflect on some of the things that I talked about today. Embracing the now, but also how will you or how can you move forward? How can you evolve? What contribution are you having in this area? What role are you playing in this era? And get into communities that are going to assist you in the role that you are needing to play, that are going to assist you in helping your well-being, that are going to assist you in not being gaslit or not being complacent or not being disregarded because you have certain kinds of emotional things that are coming up for you that you may not understand how to navigate through. Yes. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about this today. So very important for us to move in a space of awareness. and not passiveness, but of activeness. And know that non-duality does not equal complacency. All right, so that's what I wanted to come on here and say. I do have a community, as I told you before at the beginning of this video. It's called SAS, Soul Aligned Society. I just did, like I said, a check-in with the people there, accountability check-in, to see where we all are. You know, that's a space where not only are you getting resources of different things that are happening in just in general, and tools and things that are going to, resources that are going to help you and build you throughout this era, but you're also getting a place where you could be vulnerable enough to really talk about what's going on with you and not be judged and not be shunned. This is a time that we all need to be able to express ourselves in the manner of helping to protect our mental and emotional health, our spiritual well-being, and not be gaslit or made to feel like we are not in good practices with our spiritual practices, or in good standing with ourselves. Many of people are navigating unprecedented times and waters, and it should not be neglected, negated, or disregarded. And that, despite of whatever side, team, role you are playing or find yourself on. And so I think that, you know, that we have responsibilities, especially leaders, to do those things and help our communities, help ourselves. Put the mask, the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on your other people. But if you guys want to get into the community SAS, it is in the comments, the actual website. I put it in the comments. You could gain access to it there. It's sas.theshamanic.group.com. It's $29 a month, but you do get quite a bit of things. Matter of fact, a couple of things that are coming up is, of course, my shamanic guided meditation that I do every month, at least once or twice a month. And another thing that's coming up is we're going to check out, which is, I'm really excited to do this. It's really a transformational healing. And it's all about checking out the Vedic astrology, the wisdom of it, and how what it's going to reveal for 2025. So it's about soul alignment, conscious leadership through the lens of the Vedic wisdom. The transformative session, it's going to be on the 17th of this month at 11 a.m. If you want to gain access to the live event or the recording, you can do so by either joining SAS, or it is a fee as well for $22. Another thing that is coming up this month is all about navigating 2025 with Dogon, the Dogon Cosmic Wisdom and Insights and Predictions. And if anybody knows the Dogon, they are an amazing group of people, tribe, and they're the ones that discovered the series B and C stars, and bringing that ancestral teaching and that celestial knowledge, and discussing 2025. That's going to be on the 22nd, February 22nd at 11 a.m. And again, you could join SAS, which is $29 a month, and gain access to that, or if live or on the recording, or you could purchase it for a separate fee of $25. So I hope that everybody has an amazing day, week, time. And yes, I'll see you on the other side.